Hey, what is going on, guys? Dr. Schwartz here. Welcome back to another Gears 5 class tutorial. Today I'm going to be discussing the Slugger promotional class. So in Operation 7, they buffed all the promotional characters to make them a little more viable on the higher difficulties in Horde and in Escape. The Slugger's got probably the most significant changes. I might show on screen here all the changes they made. They changed a lot of the skill cards to change the class from more of a heavy weapon dependent class to now a grenade planting soldier from Gears 4 type of class. It's very similar to that, so a lot of grenade spamming will be pretty much just how the class is played now. Didn't really add any skill cards. They just modified and made them stronger. The ones that already existed, changed the functionality some of the other ones, and vice versa. So the Slugger is a shotgun class specializing in crowd control and stopping power. The ultimate ability is that all hits with ballistic weapons will knock back enemies and deal 50% extra damage. So that extra damage buff is something they added in Operation 7 to make the ultimate a little more useful than just regular stunning ability, which is what it used to have before. The passive ability is something that they changed as well. So the passive is now that the sluggers can resist 50% explosive damage. It used to be damage taken recharges ultimate, but now they reduced the ultimate cooldown from 300 seconds to 200, so it's a better passive, I think. For a grenade class to have, having to resist some explosive damage is always nice. You can buy grenades from the Fabricator for 500 power. Those are all grenades, shocks, frags, incense, and flashbangs as well. Overall, the Slugger is pretty buffed up. I would probably say the strongest of the 4 promotional classes. And I would say Architect is probably not the strongest, but the Slugger is the strongest. There's a lot of, when you have one in your game, you'll hear a lot of grenade spamming, which may get annoying eventually, but they will be doing a lot of killing, that's for sure. Not stronger than some of the strongest classes in the game, but a lot better than it used to be, for sure. Anyway, guys, let's move on to some of the skill cards. Alrighty, guys, so let's discuss Slugger's skill cards. They didn't really add any in Operation 7. It's the same 8 cards that came with the class, so the 2 sword boost cards and then the other 6 cards. They just modified some of the functionality of the cards, renamed them a little bit, and then buffed them for Operation 7. So let's get started here with grenade proficiency. So it's an additional 200% increased damage and 50% larger explosive radius with grenades. So this includes all kinds of grenades, frags, incense, shocks as well. So they buffed the damage from 130% to 200%. So now the grenades are a lot more powerful and they have bigger blast radius. A card you always want to bring. Like I said, the promotional classes are very one-dimensional, so you can only really run one build with them. You have 6 cards, so you can either run 5 and then take one out, or run 5 and then add that card back in. So that's really much all you can do. But yeah, grenade proficiency. This is the grenade damage card. Moving on to the next one, lethal preparations. So they removed the heavy weapon additional ammo card that they used to have. I believe it was called heavy preparations. Instead of giving you extra heavy ammo, so now it's just a grenade planting soldier, similar to the Gears 4 soldier. So you can plant 6 extra grenade traps. So you already have 2 when you start, so you can plant up to 8 grenades with the skill card. Pairs really well with the perks that they changed as well, so you want to run this card for sure. Alrighty, guys, moving on to Impact Receiver. Active reloaded shotgun hits within 10 meters, stuns drones, shepherds, deadeyes for 3 seconds. So this works really well because the ultimate sort of enhances this effect as well. Previously, this card was called Follow-Up, I believe, and it used to be where successive shotgun hits help you recharge your ultimate. And it didn't really make sense with the class because the class was heavy weapon based, and you had a card that you had to use a Nasher for to get your ultimate back faster, which wasn't even that useful of an ultimate. But now it's the same functionality. It really helps out in the beginning of games, keeping like drones and shepherds and some of the smaller enemies away from your base. I think it even stunts some of the bigger scions and stuff like that. I believe it doesn't work on bosses too much, not that effectively, but still a nice card to one. This is the one I usually swap out for Power Shot, which I'll be discussing in a second. Alrighty, moving on to grenade capacity. So you can carry 6 more grenades in your inventory. So this works hand in hand with lethal preparations, right? So now you can hold up to 8 grenades, and you can plan up to 8 grenades, so that's great. And then there's also a perk, which makes you resupply nades, which I'll talk about later. So always a card you want to bring for sure. Alrighty guys, moving on to Power Shot. It says ballistic rounds penetrate through multiple targets and deal 60% extra damage. So I know when this operation launched, this card didn't really function properly, but now I believe it's fixed to where it works the way it's intended. So bullets can penetrate enemies, and then do extra damage after it penetrates through enemies. So like, if you want to change up the gameplay to where you're not continuously only planting nades all game, this is a great card to run. If you're lancering enemies or sniping, this is a great card for that. Gives you a different gameplay element for this class. So like, say you're planting grenades, you get some kills, and then you need some ult charge, so you can start doing that again. Running this card is great for that. Help you get your ult back faster for sure. Moving on to Tough Skin. Resist 32% ballistic damage from enemies within 15 meters. So this used to be resist 32% melee damage, so they changed it to where now it's ballistics within 15 meters. So basically when you're going to be throwing grenades or planting them, you're going to be pretty close to enemies, so this is a nice little extra tankiness card to help prevent you from going down as much. I like to run it more in Escape because damage resistance is a little more valuable in that setting because you're a lot closer to enemies. In Horde it's nice to run too because it pairs well with a passive, which is resisting explosive damage. It's not, of course, explosive damage is separate from ballistic damage, but any damage resistance is nice. On a master level, 32% isn't a lot. You might sponge an extra bullet or two, but like a frag or a boom or a drop shot being shot near you, you're going to go down. But it's a nice extra card to run if you want some extra tankiness for sure. And then if you want to run score boost or epic score boost in your runs, you can equip them. If you're going for a high score run in Horde or a timed run in Escape, can equip these cards so you can get skill cards, gears, coins, classics, be leveling up your characters. It's good for that stuff. And that'll pretty much wrap up the skill cards. There's only 8 of them, and that'll be it. Moving on to the next section, I'm going to be talking about the Slugger's perks in Horde, which is really exciting because that's the thing that's changed the most for this class to make it pretty viable now. So yeah, let's get started. Alrighty guys, let's move on to Slugger's perks in Horde. So they changed a lot of these perks in Operation 7, so they're like really good now. They used to be pretty bad perks that didn't really match the class at all. So the Slugger, or aka Sarah Connor's class formerly, used to have shotgun damage and max health and increased movement speed, which didn't really make sense with the heavy weapon type build that the class had. But now it's a grenade planting soldier focused on explosive damage. She's got perks. The Slugger's class has got perks like feedback boost, which maxes at additional 50% damage cooldown. Grenades resupply, which maxes at one additional grenade every 15 seconds. Damage, which gives you at max additional 50% damage overall. And then you get damage resistance, which gives you additional 30% damage resistance from all sources. Melee damage, ballistic damage, explosive damage. So yeah, those perks work really well with this class. So feedback boost is basically just you get more ult cooldown for the damage that you do. So if you do a certain amount of damage, let's say you headshot, or you blow up certain enemies, that will recharge your ult a certain amount. With this perk, it'll recharge your ult even more. So you get your ult back faster. I don't think your ult's that great, but it is really good in the early ways to slow enemies down. So if you're getting your ult more, certainly doesn't hurt for sure. Grenade resupply. So this is one of the best perks for this class because you can get one grenade every 15 seconds when it's maxed. When you're spamming grenades, it may not be enough, so you can just keep buying grenades from the fab, which is what I see a lot of sluggers do. Once you have enough money to do so, I think you can get away with that. It's only 500 power. Spamming grenades is probably what you're going to do. Plant some, spam some. So yeah, it'll give you an additional grenade every 15 seconds. One thing I want to mention is that you need to have a grenade left, otherwise it will not resupply off of 0 nades. So if you have 0 frags left or 0 shocks left, you need to buy more from the fab. It won't resupply off of the 0. So just want to let you all know about that. Damage, so additional 50% damage. That includes the grenade damage. I believe it'll bump it up to like 400 per tick instead of 350, or whatever it was before. So it'll give you more grenade damage for frags and for ensigns. I'm sorry, it'll give you more grenade damage for frags and shocks. I believe it doesn't work on ensigns last time I tested it, but you'll get more damage on your weapons, more melee damage, more explosive damage. So again, being a stronger character is only useful to your team, so definitely good for that. Damage resistance is additional 30% resistance. Works pretty good. With the passive, you're 80% resistance to explosive damage, which is pretty nice. On a master level, a boom is probably going to still down you. The class isn't that tanky, but again, a boom is very OP. So, but 80% damage resistance is pretty nice. It's a lot better than 0. So definitely useful, especially in a class where you're going to be planting nades or throwing nades. Having extra damage resistance is great. You can definitely probably sponge a melee from a drone until maybe the late 30s, maybe not, but extra damage resistance is always nice. So wouldn't really call any of these perks useless. I think they're all pretty useful. This is certainly the strongest promotional class for sure. A lot of fun to play. And coming up, I'm going to have some Slugger gameplay showcasing the class in action. And that'll pretty much wrap up the tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. And stay tuned for the next tutorial/video. Peace out.
Energy tap upgraded.
Time to build. Repairing a barrier.
Grenade planted.
Barrier repaired. Time's up! They're here!
Stocking up.
Rabbit spotted!
Let's do this!
Frag out. Throwing frag.
Sir! Yeah!